Okay, so your last assignment is to put everything together, everything you have learned till now. So you have learned how to model, creating shapes, negative space, interested in variety on shapes. You have also learned about light, how lights can affect the mood of a scene, if it's happy or sad, or how to how to be creative when you don't have much of a background with lighting, right? Um, so the noir light assignment, the the soft lighting indoors, if it was something happy. Um, you also learn how to model and how to create realistic textures if you need it to make something realistic for your environment. Ideally, you can find everything need online, but if not, you know how to create it now. So I want to give you an idea of what you'll be doing. So it's mostly 10 seconds of animation, between 5 and 10 seconds of animation. And you will put some of those clips together that I showed you last. But I'll show you again just so you know how to do it. Just before we get going, I wanted to show you what some of your classmates have done. So on the character, you can pick a character that's already made online from Mixamo and somewhere else. There's a bunch of characters that are in here that are pre-made. You can use them. It's okay. Um, Remember, you're being the director, not the modeler only. So in this case, you get to decide which character it is. What does it look like? Ideally, you download it and change it a bit so it looks different. It doesn't look like the default exactly how it was in here. But or you create it in Maya, like I showed you last, with using one of the base meshes. But I do not want you to spend too much time modeling. If you do need to create something, go ahead. But if you can use one of these characters here from the content browser and modify it a little bit, it's okay. Just don't use more than a couple hours modifying your character. You don't want to spend too much time. The idea is that you can tell a story as fast as possible. Because nowadays production is moving as fast as it's always move as fast as possible, but it's getting faster and faster. So I want to show you what some of your classmates have done already, so you kind of get an idea of what's possible to do. And I do want you to think, oh, I can do better than that. That's for sure. That's what I'm looking for. That you can do, that you try to do better. So this animation here, let me move it on the screen. The student had she just the base mesh from Maya, and whoops, it doesn't want to go full screen for some reason. And then model that sword and the armor on top of it, and downloaded some of the animations, and put it on the character. And then the idea is that you position the camera where you need it to create more drama, right? So until now we've just been modeling static cameras. So now you get to be the director. You get to tell people where to look at and when. So I thought this was well done because the modeling, and the transitions. She did a good job making the transitions work. Um, Here's another good example, I think. So there's the character walking in. This is a donut, and then he's flying towards, not flying, I guess, swimming towards the donut. But this is a pretty good example of camera cutting, which you haven't done much till now, or maybe I don't know. So you might have some experience with film, but usually you start with a long shot or a wide lens so you can see the environment and tell people where you're at. Usually a close up or a medium shot to see what the character's doing or their reaction and if they see something. Typically, you would see, like in this case, you would see the character looking at the donut, for example, and then a shot back to the character just to see, just you would see the reaction afterwards and then what they do. But I think this is a pretty good example of long shot or big camera, long distance camera to medium shot to close up and then back up to a long shot. So it's a pretty good example of camera cutting. So in film, there's a couple things that you need to support. One is your story beats, and the other one is relationship with between characters. In this case, there's just one character, but you can see the emotions of the character pretty clearly, right? So this was pretty creative. This one, for example, the student I think had problems rendering, but you know, the environment is pretty well put together. You know, the character's just talking to herself there. That's probably something some students do. You know, just talk to themselves when nobody wants to talk on the phone. But I guess that was uncalled for. But this one, for example, the student put a lot of effort and put some music on it and added more characters to it, so it wasn't just a single character. So you know, I thought it was pretty well done. So I want you to get as creative as you can. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So let's see another one. I have a few in here, and this one was the last day of this guy at Amazon, I think, or the warehouse, and this is what he wanted to do his last day. So that's another one. The transitions are a little bit choppy, and I'll show you how to deal with that. So when you download your animations, you can in between or the bones, the position of the bones can transition smoother according to how you position the clips, the animation clips, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Let's see. So you can get pretty creative. I'm probably not gonna show you all of them, but I'll post them in Canvas. Anyway, so I put a character here in Mixamo, and you know, again, you can't use any of these ones. Just make sure you modify it to look how you want it. Open the UVs, maybe repaint them, and re-upload it here into Mixamo. So to upload this character, I just save it from Maya as an FBX. It will not upload if you just do a Maya file. So you have to do an FBX for Mixamo to recognize it. If not, it will not work. So FBX is a universal file that includes animation. OBJ is just a mesh with a material, but in this case, you know, if this was your model, you would export the selection and make sure it's set to FBX. Then you upload it to Mixamo. I just did a little sculpting on it. You know, I just grabbed the sculpting tool here. Maybe subdivide the model a bit. Mesh, smooth, you know, and then you can get sculpting. Just sculpted pants. So just like you did with the ground, well, you hold down B, it's the size of the brush, M is the strength, you know. So I just sculpted some pants, you know, I just some wrinkles, and I extruded the sleeves. You know, you don't have to spend more than 2 hours in your character. You can get as fancy as you want. You can paint the UVs and make it look nice, like that one student that made the knight. But again, if you're spending more than 2 hours, it might be too much. So I just grabbed the character. There's something here called a lattice that you can put on the character. And let me hit Q here, so I'm out of sculpting mode. It looks like this, and if you open the channel box, you can see the divisions on the lattice. So you can add more divisions or less. So let's say this. No, that's not the one I want. It's probably this one. It's not moving. There we go. So with this, you can move the lattice points, select them. So right click and select them and move it, and you know, maybe scale your character, distort it to make it look more how you want, maybe shorter legs or longer arms or whichever you prefer. You know, you can distort it. The deformation will not stay unless you delete the history on the mesh. So if you move the mesh out of the lattice, you'll see it goes back to normal. That's by design. So if you're animating a character and let's say it crashes against a wall, you know, let's say your character gets squashed like this, you can move the character out of the squash position, right? So flat against the wall and back to normal. So if you want the deformation to stay, you have to select the mesh and delete the history. So we do have a shortcut right here under the poly modeling shelf. You delete the history here. If you don't see that, go to edit, delete all by type, history. Now the lattice is gone. The character is like this forever. It will not change. So once you have it how you want it to look, you can upload it into Mixamo. Oh wow, it's raining really big hail in here. And this is what I did with this. You know, just to show you, you can make your own character. So now that you have this, all you have to do is download it first without the without any animations. So you have the character in here, you rigged it like I showed you in the last video. Now you need to download the rig, so without any animation. So you say download character, and we'll make a folder here to put it all in one place. So we'll name it new folder stocky and put it in here. So now that I have the mesh with the bones, now I can download animations. But when I download the animations, I want them without any mesh, because we already have the mesh. We don't want to have duplications in there. So let's say we wanted this animation on it, reaction to getting shoved and turning around, you know. So in here you'll see some animations that you have the option to be in place. For example, if you look for walking, and if you put this animation on it, you'll see it's moving in space, so from here to here. So that is fine. Sometimes you don't want it to move in space, and you can animate the clip. And I'll probably have to show you that anyway. So let's actually do one of these ones instead. So in this one, it is moving in space. So you could click in place, and you know, it would be walking like this. And usually you use this for animation, for games, because you don't want the character to move out of its collision capsule, so it doesn't go through walls and walks out of your collision capsule. So this is mostly for video games, but for our purposes now here for this animation clip, we probably do want it with root motion, which is called that when it moves in space. So I'm going to download this animation, and this is the important part. We don't want the skin again because we already downloaded, remember? So we'll say without skin and download it. Let's download another one. Stocky, there it is, walking. Let's download another one. Walking to stop, maybe. Stop walking, this one. Okay, there it is. So we'll download that one. I'll try to make it quick here. Without the skin again. We'll do a talking, so we have 3 clips. You may have a lot more and a lot more characters. That's fine. So let me find one this one's probably fine. Sometimes you have characters with big hands and they might go into the body. This character arm space will separate hands from the body so they don't go into the body. You know, see that they're a lot farther apart than how started. Now this is pretty close there. It still is okay. Overdrive is how fast it's moving, so you can move it, or how strongly it's moving, you know, so it's more emphasized. But that's the default's fine. So you can play around with this and trim the clip. If there's part of the clip you don't want, you can adjust it here. Cut the first few frames or the end frames. But we'll just download it just to keep it simple for this explanation. So now after you have it, you just have to bring them to Unreal. So I'm going to open Unreal and bring those animations here. It's a good idea to make a folder for your own stuff inside of content. So I have a folder already here. I'm just gonna make another one for animations. Oh, that's too generic, huh? I should probably make it so I can find it easier. Okay, so we're gonna put all of those in here. So I'm going to right click, and this is important. The first thing you want to bring in is your character with the rig. So I'm going to say import to current folder and look for that character. I put it on the desktop, I think. Oh, whoops, I can't. Uh-oh, am I frozen? I think I'm frozen. Oh, crap.